what I want to show you today is how to import data into an Access database. Okay, so here I've got Access open. This is Access 2013. And what I'm going to show you is we're going to import some information. Now the information that we're going to import is in a CSV file. Okay, now a CSV file stands for comma separated values, and although here it's been linked to Excel, you can actually open it with a text editor. So I'm just going to show you that. Okay, so I'm going to open it with Notepad, which is my text editor, which is the text editor that comes with Windows. And there you can see there is all the information. Okay, so the beauty of a comma separated values file is you don't need a particular piece of software to open it. All right, as long as you've got a text editor, which every computer would have, you can open a file. So there we can see all the information as comma separated values. Okay, and as you can see, the headings, which tell us what each of these columns mean, are at the top of the file. All right, so that's our comma separated values file. So what I'm now going to do, I'm just going to close that, is I'm now going to go to Access, and I'm going to go to External Data. Okay, now there are various ways that you can import data. So you can import it from an Excel spreadsheet, you can import it from another Access database, and you can import it from something called an ODBC database, which we'll come back to later on. All right, but we're going to import the data from a CSV file, which is a type of text file. So we're going to click on Import Text File. Okay, and the first thing it wants us to do is find the source of the data. So we're going to click on Browse, and I'm going to go to my drive. Okay, and here is the source. All right, and the computer recognizes it as a text file because it only sees text files. I'm just going to click Open. Okay, now with this text file, we're going to create a new table in the database. So we're going to pick this option. Okay, so we're now going to click OK. Okay, and now the computer wants to know whether the type of file that I'm getting the data from, is it delimited or is it fixed width? Now you might not quite understand what these mean, but the description does give us a hint. So delimited says that characters such as a comma or a tab separate each field, and the fixed width are fields are aligned in columns with spaces between each field. Well, we've got a file that's called a comma separated values. Okay, so we've got a delimited format. All right, so we've got one where characters such as a comma are separated in each field, so we're going to pick delimited, and then we're going to click Next. Okay, now what we now need to do is we can choose our delimiter, which is in this case is a comma, but we could have used other delimiters. Okay, a semicolon, a tab, a space, but ours is a comma. And what's really, really important here is that we remember that our first row contains the field name, so we need to tick this box. Okay, that looks good. All right, now we're going to click Next. All right, and here's an opportunity for us to just make sure that when the computer imports the data, it imports it in the correct data type. So we can see that faculty code is short text, that's fine. Qual code, short text, we're quite happy with these at the moment. So you can just click on each one of these columns, all right, and it just tells you the different data types that it's going to import it as. Here's the course code, the length, which we're happy with as an integer. Okay, this is the number of males, this is the number of females, all right, and the one I want to change is this full-time one, because at the moment, the computer thinks it's an integer, but actually this is a Boolean data type, or should be a Boolean data type, because it's 0 or -1, so it's one or the other, so it's a Boolean data type. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the different data types. Now, in Access, Boolean is known as yes, no, so I'm just going to click on yes, no. Okay, and that's it. And what I can also do is as I go through these, I can decide whether I want to import that field or not. So I can tick that if I don't want to import something. I want to import all the fields, so I'm now just going to click Next. And what I'm now going to do is I'm going to pick a primary key. So which one of these am I going to use as an identifier? Okay, now in this case, the unique identifier is the course code. So I'm going to select course code from the list, and there we go. And that's it, I'm now done really, so I'm going to click Next again, and I can give the table a name, so I'm going to call it my degree table. Alright, and I've finished, so I'm now going to click Finish. Oh, I would do if my There we go. I just had a bit of a freeze there. So we're going to click finish. And I am done. So now I'm going to click close. Do I want to save the import steps? I don't. So I'm going to click close. And let's just make sure. So we're going to click on here. All right. And then we can see that all the data has been imported from our CSV into the table. Okay. So that is how to import data from a CSV into an Access database.